Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sunday Race Club. Today we are going racing in Alula, and as you can probably see on your screens here in a few moments, we have quite the change up. We've decided to go with some separate categories in today and moving forward. Of course, we'll be starting with Cat 1, Cat 2, and Cat 3, just like we have in normal road races. Today's course, as you can see on screen, is going to be a really flat, more of a time trial course. Of course, drafting is allowed today, with a maximum elevation gain of only 319 meters, 5 segments in the 1 kilometer range, and then we're going to have 2 towards the end at 10 kilometers. So we're going to have our 7 segments back, kind of how they used to be, everything kind of back to normal, but it's going to be a new format. It's going to be pretty interesting, and hopefully it's going to be okay with everybody kind of in the same jersey, so hopefully I'll be able to remember who's on what team. But starting off for the UAE clan team, of course, we have Mr. X100, Pablo Popovich, SS Rikad Al-Thib. And for UAE Falcons, we have Ahmed Al-Tanaji, Zahid Hamdan, Hassan Al-Ramithi, Yusuf Mirza. And for UAE Road Warriors, Abdullah Kasey, Ahmed A. Rinosh, and Fazal Amin. And for Danish Pavlova, Michael Kunsen, Jason Osborne, Ollie Jones, and Michael Vink. And the Yorkshire Pudding Express boys, Philip Graves, Mitch Ferry, Vitor Mill, and Paul Olin. And for Velo Squad, we have Cristiano Kinup, David Milano, Julio Larrego. And rounding off for Team Draft, we have Sahid Safarzadeh, Ross Fawcett, Ryan Giuliano, and Bruce Bird. And for our individual riders today, we have Bashar, Nasir Al Khalifa, Shazad Sarwar, Tim Cutler, and Nicholas Spratt. And for Cat 2, we have one team for Cat 2 today, and that is Al Salim Bike Shop, Stephen Urbanano, Moses Baltzar, Badr Badu, Leonard Grade, Cadabona. Sorry if I've completely butchered your guys' names. But it's awesome to have one team lined up here for first race of categories. And of course, these guys will be in our green jerseys. And for individual riders in Category 2, we have Osama Sabili, Mohammed Alous, Nasir Abalushi, Isa Al-Balloshi, Agit Salman, Harith Al-Marzoui, Gerard Koking, Bilal Khan, Russell Sissing, Victor Flores, Angelano Balisi, and Afsal Methari. And for our Cat 3, we don't have any teams, but we do have a few individual riders. Medhat Halab. Oh, man, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the second one. I'm so sorry. Nepathali Bernot, Rizal Balad, Ricardo, Rubio, Nordine Aruchin, and Omar Ahmed. So now we're just inside, just about 4 minutes to go until we kick off the men's edition here of the Sunday Race Club. Everybody's getting warmed up, as you can see. And it's going to be really fun to go racing here in Alula. It's been hyped up over this past week. We're all super excited about launching this, and we hope everything goes well today for all of our riders involved. Like I said earlier, all the yellow, that's going to be our pro, our Cat 1 guys, our weekly racers here, if you will, for the Sunday Race Club. And I think most of our attention will kind of be focused on them. We'll try to jump back through to categories 2 and 3, kind of see what's happening back there. And most everybody from category 2 and 3, they're actually racing all together on site throughout our 3 different venues over in UAE and in KSA. So we have a location in Riyadh, we have a location in Dubai, and of course in Abu Dhabi, our home. And so it's going to be really cool to see. We'll have some live images, some live feed coming up, showing how everybody's getting on there in the big group ride sessions. And then, of course, all of our Cat 1s are kind of spread across the world, which is also the beauty of racing online. You can do it from wherever you want. So just about 3 minutes to go. We'll go ahead and let all the guys get warmed up here and come back for the start. So currently on screen now, you can see the live action taking place there in Abu Dhabi, which is kind of cool, seeing everybody getting ready to join us here on this race. Just inside a minute and 20 to go until we start. Of course, there are some females shown, but they will not be racing with us today. Of course, this is the men's category, and they'll be joining us for the next event. A lot of people there in Abu Dhabi. Riyadh, it looks like just a few. Might be a bad camera angle, but I'm sure there's more than just one guy there. So inside 45 seconds now until we go, we'll start to see the watts come up so people can get a really good start off the line. With this being such a flat course today, I really think it's going to favor most of the sprinters. So it's going to be a good finish there towards the end. It's going to be a really fast-paced race, I feel. And I think teamwork is going to come into play a lot here, since drafting, of course, is allowed. It's not like the Winter Solstice Championship where we didn't allow drafting. Today, everything is allowed. So I think it's going to be a big part. We can see some of our Cat 2 guys there getting warmed up as well. Now, everybody, it's pretty much off. You got some Cat 2 guys up there with our Cat 1. Everybody's off to a really good pace, pushing over 50 kilometers per hour right now. Off the front, Paul Odlin and Philip Graves. They're going to be working together very well, I feel. We got Jason Osborne, Michael Vink up in there as well, Ollie Jones. So this is a very fast start. For the segments today, they are broken up ever so slightly. They are 1 kilometer segments, so they're going to go quite fast. And the first one coming up at just 1.2 kilometers. So with this pace being pushed off right now, they're going to reach the start gate to segment number 1 very soon, I feel. And these guys are just going full send right out the gate through our new world here, Alula. Race distance today, of course, is 45 Ks of pure TT style racing. So we got Mitch Ferry up there, Ross Fawcett, SS. Not seeing Mr. X100. Usually he's up with these guys pretty early on and trying to maintain his position throughout the race as well, getting a good spot inside the pack. Pace of the pack currently 37 kilometers per hour. They're on a slight uphill right now as they approach the start gate to segment number 1, as you can see on screen. And it's going to be Mitch Ferry rolling through the line first. Of course, it doesn't matter who starts first or who finishes first. It's all about the overall time. So we're going to need to see some massive efforts from the guys here if they want to take the first segment overall. Things popping off there nicely over there in Abu Dhabi, as you can see on screen. These guys are really pushing it. Most of them brought their own bikes today, which is pretty cool. Of course, we've had everything supplied. We have over 25 bikes at each location, full of Colonagos, just like the Team UAE uses in their competition. So it's been really fun to see everybody get to know the bikes. But it's also cool that these guys brought their own, just as if they were racing at home. But now they can all do it together. So we have the pack has broken away ever so slightly. We have Michael Vink, Jason Osborne, and Philip Graves. And Ricard Al-Thib there, a little pack of 4. Put about 2 seconds to the little chase group there of Pablo Popovich, Ollie Jones, and SS. Michael Kuhnsen back in that pack as well. These guys off the front, about 5.4 watts per kilo, 417 watts. As there's just 200 meters. And there we have a really good attack by Tim Cutler. Everybody's going to try to answer that back for the checkpoint coming up now for the end of segment number 1. That very well could be Tim Cutler's segment. We'll have to wait for the overall times to come in. Now with most everybody through the line, it looks like it'll be Ricard Al-Thib from the UAE clan team. He's going to take it with a total time of 1 minute and 26 seconds. 2 seconds back will be Tim Cutler, who just made that late break attack, one of our individual riders here in the Cat 1. And third place, Jason Osborne, Danish Pavlova rider, just 0.9 seconds back from Tim Cutler there. So really good effort there by the UAE clan team member, Ricard Al-Thib, taking the first segment here in Alula. First time racing here, first segment here. Everything's first and new for today, keeping things exciting, of course. So again, congrats to the UAE clan team for taking that one. But of course, we roll on. We're only at 2.7 kilometers at a total of 45 kilometers race today. Segment number 2 is coming up at kilometer 4.2. And you can see these guys all there in Abu Dhabi are really, really pushing it there. It's really nice to have some live screen action. Like I've said in the past streams, I thought it'd always be fun to have live camera set up to see how you guys are really getting on in the real world as we're all racing online. So this is quite fun to see here. So getting back to the race, Jason Osborne out front there with Pablo Popovich and Mitch Ferry. Of course, the lead is going to be changing around a lot. Everybody is still super close and tidy as they're really pushing along in this new world. Alula, 43 kilometers is the pace of the pack right now. And they're still in the mid 300s, approaching 400 watts, which is just crazy. These guys are really, really pushing hard today. Just under a kilometer to go until we are at segment number 2. Really good stuff here from everybody on screen. Also have a lot of cycling clubs represented with us today in the actual physical locations throughout Riyadh, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai. So it's really nice to have the local cycling scene come out and join us for this event. Of course, we are a UAE-based company, and we're very proud of that fact. So it's been so much fun hosting this in our home country and involving all the local players. So segment number 2 approaching. We have a man off the front by the name of Michael Vink. The Vinkinator off the front to come through segment number 2. Closely behind him, though, Philip Graves, Pablo Popovich there as well. These guys are going all out, 52 kilometers per hour as they come to the start gate for segment number 2. Again, it's a 1 kilometer segment, so this is going to be a really, really fast segment for these guys. At this pace so far, everybody's kicking on very, very well. So the end of this segment will be at kilometer 5.2. And like I said before, they are going full send. Currently on the course, they are going on a little bit of a downhill, just at minus 0.3. So a little bit of help from the course there, but not much. Of course, they're still going to be drafting like crazy, as they should be, getting some of that free energy. But up ahead, we have the the finish gate for segment number 2. And of course, it's still Michael Vink off the front, pushing over 608 watts at this point with SS and Mitch Ferry. Osborne's up there as well. Looks like Osborne's making a bit of an attack now. Actually, I think it was Vink maybe just slowing down ever so slightly. We'll have to wait to see as they come through the line here all together. Everybody's still nicely bunched up. So through the line, so far it shows Ross Fawcett. Let's see if that holds true. And it does. Ross Fawcett, Team Draft, takes segment number 2 with total time 1 minute and 9 seconds. 0.4 seconds behind him, UAE clan rider SS. And third place, our individual rider, Tim Cutler. So nice job there by Ross Fawcett, taking segment 2. Segment number 3 now coming up at the 6.7 kilometer mark. So in just about another K, they have another full out segment. So there's not much time to really cool down and cool off in between these segments. It's again more of, like a real sprint session today, real good interval session. And we can see some of our Cat 2 riders on the right side of our screen there. Looks like everybody's done a really good job by finding their appropriate categories today. So we don't have any Cat 2 jerseys up there at the Cat 1s or vice versa. So it's cool that everybody has found their appropriate allocation. Getting back to the tip top of this race though, Philip Graves, Vink off the front there, Jason Osborne in there as well, as we are slowly approaching segment number 3. Just about 400 meters until we get to that. These guys have put 3 seconds on the little chase pack behind them, Pablo Popovich, SS, and Jason Osborne. They're not putting out crazy numbers at the moment, so they're probably going to get sucked up here soon. But if either of these two guys want to take segment number 3, then we'll start to see them really pop off here as they come through the line. So now Vink and Philip Graves through the line for segment number 3, and now everybody else as well. They still have a gap of about 3 seconds. Everybody can see them up on the head on their screen through their iPads. As segment number 3 is fully underway, you can see a lot of shuffling going on in that little chase group. Vink and Philip Graves are still out front at the moment. But again, they're pushing less watts than the chase pack. However, they are maintaining the gap still. At this point, it can be anybody's segment. If someone launches an attack now, perhaps with 600 meters to go, they can go ahead and claim this overall segment. Not seeing a whole lot of action on that at the moment. Looks like someone is trying to bridge that gap though, and that being Pablo Popovich. You see him just behind these two guys now, approaching them, putting on a really good attack just to get back onto their wheels. It's hard to tell if these two guys are trying to go off the front for the remainder of the race or if it's just for this segment. Whatever the case may be, Pablo Popovich doesn't want them to get too far out ahead. So here we are now coming through the finish line for segment number 3. And of course, it'll be those 3 guys off the front that'll cross the line first, being Vink, Graves, and Popovich, and everybody soon close behind them. As they come through, we'll get a look. And it is Pablo Popovich who takes segment number 3 for the UAE clan team. Total time 1 minute and 17 seconds. Yorkshire Pudding Express rider Philip Graves just behind, 1 minute and 20. And Danish Pavlova, Michael Vink, 1 minute and 20 as well. So just 0.2 of a second between Philip Graves and Michael Vink. But it looks like the effort by Pablo Popovich just to bridge himself back up to that group was all that was needed to take segment number 3. So now the guys have a little bit more of a break with the first 3 segments out of the way. Now we're going to start approaching segment number 4, and that's going to be at kilometer 11.2. And again, it is another 1 kilometer segment. We have 2 more 1K segments to go. And at the front of the race here, everybody looks like they're all getting somewhat back together. We have Mr. X100 back in the mix as well, it appears. Everybody's pretty strung out. They were all staying really nice and tidy together, but now they've all kind of stretched apart. I think those first 3 segments there were pretty hard on everybody. And this man here, Pablo Popovich, his jersey has changed since he has won segment number 3. So he'll be easy to spot now amongst all the yellow riders here. So it looks like the 2 groups now are only separated by about 4 seconds. It looks a lot larger on the screen. It's still, of course, being able, still a small enough gap to be made up. But they are separating themselves ever so slightly. And all the top guys are up in that group. Jason Osborne, Ollie Jones, Mitch Ferry, Philip Graves, Popovich, Vink, Cutler. And just 4 seconds back, Mr. X100 leading that chase group to try to bridge that gap back to these guys. As you can see, their watt numbers now high 300s, mid 400s. These guys are really pumping to try to get back to that group and close down that gap. And as long as they all work together and draft off each other, that should not be a problem. As you can see, they're about to suck someone up there. So soon they will be rejoining. And there is just about 1 kilometer to go until we do start segment number 4. And these guys are just going full send, trying to really, really separate the group right now. Here we have some live footage of most of our Cat 2, Cat 3 riders there. Couldn't tell if that was in Abu Dhabi or if that was actually Dubai. Regardless, still awesome to see everybody on the live feeds here. This man, Jason Osborne, our winner, overall winner of last week's race, still off and away at a super secret training camp in Spain. We have a few guys training in Spain right now. And I think we have a few of our women that are over there as well. Super jealous. Hope you guys can bring back some sunshine back over here to the rest of the EU. So just now, 300 meters until we start segment number 2 here. Off the front, that's going to be coming through the line first will be Ollie Jones and Philip Graves. Wonder if these guys are going to try to work together, try to claim another stage or another segment, excuse me. So far, Ollie and Philip there in the high 400s, pushing about 6.4 watts per kilo. So they're really trying to send it through segment number 4. As I look back through the rest of the pack, we have Mr. X100 there with them now, 500 watts. So he's really bridging that gap. Vitor Meal and SS, they're all working together. So now here comes Mr. X100 to the front of the race. He has rejoined the group here. He let off the gas ever so slightly and fell a little back, but now he's back in there, and he needs to stay there. Vitor Meal there from Norway as well. Ross Fawcett. Michael Kuhnsen just a little ways back. So now just 200 meters to go to the finish of segment number 4. I have no guesses on who's going to take this one. It very well could be Mr. X100 since he had a really good surge there of over 500 watts, but I'm not too sure how long that actually was. I think I may have checked in on him a little late. But now as most of the front of that group is going to come through the line of segment number 4, we can have a look at the standings and see Riyadh Al-Thib from the UAE clan team. Is that his second segment today? I can't really remember. Congratulations, Riyadh Al-Thib, UAE clan team. Total time 1 minute and 19 seconds. Yorkshire Pudding Express rider just shortly behind him. Paul Odlin of just 0.5 seconds behind Ricardo Al-Thib there. And UAE clan team rider Pablo Popovic shortly back as well, just 1 second there behind Yorkshire Pudding Express rider of Paul Odlin. So back to the front of this pack here. Segment number 5 now coming up at kilometer 13.2. So they have just under 1 kilometer to kind of catch their breath. And we're really trucking along here on this edition of Sunday Race Club. 12.8 Ks in, total of 45 to go, of course. And these guys are making very easy work of today's course, it seems like, off the front here. Guys on screen now. You can tell they're really working as well. Thinking these guys are in Riyadh, if I'm not mistaken. And this must be our team in Abu Dhabi. I can see some of my coworkers there on screen, so this must be Abu Dhabi. These guys are pushing so hard right now on screen. Can only imagine what the rest of you guys look like back at home. Getting back to the action here. Everybody has started. Segment number 5, Philip Graves, Michael Vink. These guys are really trying to control these segments, it feels. I think they're really controlling the majority of this race so far, being off the front there. They have 5 seconds on the chase pack, consisting of Mr. X100 and Jason Osborne, Mitch Ferry, Vita, Ross Fawcett, all of our regulars there. But Michael Vink there and Philip Graves really going full gas today. One of these men could very well take the segment win as I'm watching the back of the pack here. No real crazy moves happening. Of course, the watts are pretty high. But they only have 200 meters to go until they cross the line here. So, of course, Vink and Graves will be the first 2 guys to cross the line. And I'm not sure if this timing is correct, but it says on my side, 10 seconds is the gap they have to everybody else. If that is the case, and that's quite the gap. Then we have Jason Osborne on an attack there, approaching almost 1,000 watts, trying to snipe it at the end. And that even wasn't enough. So it was Philip Graves and Michael Vink. So those 2 guys are really, really working well together. But Philip Graves, Yorkshire Pudding Express, is our winner for segment number 5. Second place, Danish Pavlova rider Michael Vink. And third place, his teammate, Jason Osborne. So congrats to Philip Graves. Really cool to see Philip and Michael there really working together on these segments. They're really going all out, trying to get some money. And why shouldn't they? So now we are at kilometer 14.7. Kilometer number 6 is up ahead at the 17 mark. And this is going to be our first 10-kilometer stage. And I can't believe we are already approaching segment number 6. Seems like this race is flying by. We're only 20 minutes in. Really great stuff here from our guys back in the UAE. This is what it looks like to try to maintain in the pack. Really cool that we have Abu Dhabi Cycling Club with us today on site. We got a good showing there in Riyadh and in Dubai. Our team has gone through crazy efforts to get this whole week planned and executed, and especially with today. Of course, our head guy, Bicker, have to give him a major congratulations for setting up this stream. He's controlling so many different cameras and live feeds right now, and it is no easy task. And he's listening to me in English, and of course we do have our Arabic stream going as well, so I'm sure he's going to have a really good nap after today's live stream session. Getting back to the front of this race, Jason Osborne up there with Michael Vink and Philip Graves. It's going to be really interesting to see where Jason ends up today. Of course, he won last week. He wins kind of a lot here, but he has mentioned to me before that he is not much of a sprinter. And with today's race being a pretty much flat course, and it is favoriting to the sprinters. So we'll have to see who's going to be the number one sprinter here at the end. And if everybody can kind of stick together, I think we're going to have another really exciting finish like we had last week for Sunday Race Club. Mr. X100 there on screen, staying with the pack as he should. They are about 6 seconds back from our top 4 guys, or more or less our top 3 guys. Oh, there he comes. Now it's a pack of 4. So we have Vink, Ollie Jones, Jason Osborne, Philip Graves. Trying to look back at the timing here on the iPad, and it looks like they have 5 seconds to Tim Cutler and about 11 seconds to Mitch Ferry and everybody else who is behind him, consisting of Ross Fawcett, Pablo Popovich, Ricardo Althib, and of course, Mr. X100. So here is the start line for our first 10-kilometer segment number 6. Really interested to see who's going to take this one. How are the teams going to work together? Where do the individual riders fit into all this? Because this is definitely going to be a full-on drafting segment. And if you're smart, that's where you'll be, to sit in the middle of the pack, get through it, stay with the whole guys all the way until the end. You can see here on screen now of our course preview, segment number 6 there. They do have a little bit of elevation at this point, but at the end, they're going to come through and have a little bit more of a downhill. So mostly flat, some false flats. But again, this is going to be a really fast 10K segment. And I don't think you have any room to rest, soft pedal, or anything. As soon as you do that, I think you're going to get shelled right off the back of these packs. So the guys up front, pushing in the mid 400s, really keeping the pace up, 37 kilometers per hour. Watching Osborne on screen now. His heart rate looks good. His cadence looks good. He looks to be in a very good position there, especially a Vink and everybody else with them, Ollie Jones. So these guys are going to try to keep that gap, which is now 10 seconds to Ricardo Althib and everybody else. He's currently the one leading the chase pack at the moment. Have a tap back and see where everybody else is. So just after having a look at the data here, these 4 guys do have an official 11-second lead over the chase pack. And if they keep this up, they could very well maintain this gap for the rest of the race. These guys have all proven to be very strong riders in our weekly events here, the Sunday Race Club. So we're just a few kilometers in now, just almost 2 kilometers in to this 10K segment. And nobody is slowing down or letting off the gas, which is great to see. You can see the cadence of some of the guys live on screen. Some have a relatively slow cadence. Some are pushing really high, really fast. Everybody's different, of course. But this is shaping out to be a good segment number 6. And I'm wondering if this is the pack that we will have at the end of the race. They are getting up into a little bit of the climbing now. You can see on the top right of the screen, at one point there, it was 2.2. And they're currently 204 meters above sea level. The total for today is 319. So they still have a bit to go in terms of climbing. But of course, if you're a Jason Osborne or you're a Philip Graves, these kinds of hills don't really mean much to you. Of course, you do feel them as you're on the trainer. But for these guys, I don't think it's any issue whatsoever, proven by their numbers and their speed and their heart rates and everything right now. So they're maintaining their gap. They're keeping good speed. They're keeping good power wattage, pushing around 6.5 for Michael Vink right now. Jason at 5.2. You can see there from our different locations now, everybody really breaking a sweat. I can only imagine. Super happy to have everybody with us. And I think it's really cool that we have decided to do 2 separate categories. So Cat 2 and Cat 3 kind of be more inclusive and allow everybody to join in in our weekly races here. So getting back to the action here, we have Osborne, of course, these four guys all working at the front still very well together, as we are just inside 7Ks to go of segment number 6. The guys on screen now really sending it. Really awesome to see this live footage here from everybody back over in the UAE and in the KSA. But yes, sorry, getting back to the front, Michael Vink, Jason Osborne, Philip Graves, Ollie Jones, they have all now put 14 seconds. So they've opened up the gap another 3.5 seconds-ish to the chase group behind that's currently being led out by Mr. X100, and you have SS Pablo Popovic, Vittermjøl from Norway in there as well, and Michael Kunsen from Denmark. They're all in that chase pack, and they're going to have to work really hard if they need to try to rejoin with the likes of Vink and Osborne and those boys. Of course, there is the distance to do it, but at this pace that everybody's putting out, I'm not sure that it is doable. I mean, these guys off the front are in the 500 watt range. They're sustaining it at almost 60 kilometers per hour. Really good stuff from these guys, really working well together. Mr. X100 there trying to really up the pace of the pack on the right side of the screen. I'm sure he really wants everybody to work together so he can be back up in there and have a fighting chance for an overall victory today, or an overall top 10. But like I said, it's not going to be an easy thing to do to bridge that gap. And as I say that, updated timing has come in, and these guys have put even more time. Now the gap is up to 21 seconds to that chase group. So I'm pretty sure these four guys, these will be the ones really battling it out here towards the end of today's main finish here in Alula. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of a water break, and I'll come back just before the finish here of segment number 6. So now coming back into the race, we just have 300 meters to go until these four gentlemen off the front are crossing the line of segment number 6. And of course, we'll see them populate the top of the charts as soon as they come by. And we'll have to wait about 24 to 25 seconds for everybody else to come through. And we'll get to see who took the overall time for segment number 6 here. However, I do feel it very well may be one of these four gentlemen who have been controlling this race here for the last few kilometers. We can go ahead and see the finish line to segment number 6 up ahead. For fun, I guess we can get to look at and see which one of the four has the overall fastest time so far. And off the very first times, it's Ollie Jones and Jason Osborne and Philip Graves, and then Michael Fink. But we'll have to wait to see once everybody else comes through what their times will be. I think it might go to maybe one of the UAE clan team members if they were really punching it up, really trying to close the gap to the front group. I can imagine that maybe one of these guys and the chase group will have a really good time as well. But of course, we'll have to wait and see as they get closer. So these are the overall times. Awesome. So Ollie Jones from Danish Pavlova takes the time of 13 minutes and 25 seconds, followed by his teammate Jason Osborne, 13 minutes and 25 seconds. So just 0.3 between the two, and then Philip Graves. So I'm actually surprised to see that. I really thought we'd see somebody from the chase group at the top of the times there. Maybe thought they were really working really hard together, but apparently these guys, this pack of four at the front, they are not playing games today. And they just keep that gap growing, which is now up to 23 seconds on everybody else. So there's Mr. Ollie Jones on screen. His jersey now has changed. So now there's two riders left up there who don't have separate jerseys. None of them have won a segment yet today. But of course, when they cross the line, maybe they'll get something special. So currently at kilometer 28.2, segment number 7, our last segment of the day, is coming up at the 32K mark. And again, that is going to be a 10-kilometer segment. And I'm looking at the course map here, and they are going to have a little bit of a downhill, and it looks like an ever so slight uphill towards the end. So my predictions could be wrong. It still could be a sprint finish for the actual sprinters, but if there is a bit of climbing, then maybe that can favor the guys that are really good at climbing. But I still do feel that these four will be battling it out for those top 4 positions. I don't think anybody's going to be catching them anytime soon. They just keep extending that gap now up to 28 seconds, being led out by Ricard Althib in that backpack. So somebody in that backpack will round out our top 5, it looks like. And then, of course, 5 more to finish out the top 10. So we just have 15 kilometers to go until we're all wrapped up here with the men's edition of Sunday Race Club in Alula. Hope you guys have been enjoying the course so far. To me, it looks really good. I think the team has done a really good job on all the animations, on all the graphics, the coloring. I know for a long time they've been working really hard on this back home. So it's really nice to see that it's finally out for the world to use. On screen now, Mr. X100 staying at the very tip top of that chase group there, alongside Mitch Ferry and Vitor Meal, it looks like, and Pablo Popovich just back there as well. And like I was saying before, the course on screen now, you can see they will have a slight downhill once they approach segment number 7. And then towards the end of today's overall stage, you can see it kick up ever so slightly. So currently at 258 meters above sea level, and they are just going to 319. So they do have a fair little bit of climbing left to do. On screen, you can now see some of the live footage again. I'm guessing this one is in Riyadh, just from looking at the background. Maybe next time we can actually have tags on the screen. So yeah, I was right. That is Riyadh. Abu Dhabi, there's a lot of people there in Abu Dhabi. Glad to see they have fans set up for everybody. So Mr. X100 now on the right side of our screen. Looks like he's making a bit of a break. It's hard to see around him at the moment. Nope. Okay, so he's just leading out the group at the moment. It looked like he was on a full solo charge there, which would have been quite impressive. I mean, these guys have 30 seconds to try to make up in the next 15 kilometers. And I don't think that is doable, especially when the front guys are Jason Osborne and Philip Graves, Michael Vink, and Ollie. These guys have proven to be super, super strong guys in all of our weekly races and our championship events. But I got to say, it's really cool that these four somehow decided to work together, pull off the front, and kind of leave everybody behind them. I haven't really seen that since I've started announcing. I'm still fairly new to announcing for our online races. It started during the Winter Solstice Championship, but even during then, when there was big money on the line, haven't seen really anything like this, where they've created such a substantial gap and have been able to hold it out for so long. So really cool to see that. So segment number 7 start is coming up here in just about 500 meters. Soon they'll be able to see the start gate on screen, probably once they come around this corner that they are currently on. So everybody's being currently led out by Mr. Osborne. Our guys in Riyadh there really working and out of the saddle. So through the start gate, the boys come. Segment number 7 starting just now. Again, 10-kilometer segment. So these guys are going to work together, stay together, maybe until the very end. Or maybe a couple of them are going to try to split up this group and really go full attack early on. It's really hard to say. All I know is that those 4 guys are super duper strong. And it wouldn't surprise me if 2 of them try to break away or 1 tries to break away solo. We'll have to wait and see how that's going to go. And the chase pack now coming through the start line of segment number 7 as well. Being led out there by SS, followed by Mitch Ferry and Mr. X100. So now everybody's pretty much through in the Cat 1 group, underway on the final segment of today. We're going to have to wait and see, of course, how this is going to fare for the chase group. But most importantly, for the 4 guys out front. Really going to keep my eyes on them because I think we can have some really good action there, especially towards the end of this segment. But we can't forget that there's also a race happening behind them. I guess I should say I shouldn't forget because I'm kind of hyper-focused on watching these 4 dudes at the front. But now I'm just checking in with the chase pack here. So we have SS, Mr. X100, Mitch Ferry, Michael Kuhnsen in this group as well, Vitor Mill from Norway, and Paul Odlin, Pablo Popovich in there too. So these guys are all going to be battling it out for 5th position to round out the top 5. And of course, to see who's going to round out the top 10 overall. Just going to have a look here. Let's try to see who is all in that pack. Yeah, so that whole pack there will round out our top 10 for sure. Everybody else is pretty much broken way up. My iPad's not even letting me slide all the way down. But anyways, getting back to the race, 33.7 kilometers is where we're at now. And segment number 7 is ending at kilometer number 42. So far, Jason Osborne off the front a little bit. I don't think he's going to go for any sort of attacks now. Guys are really pushing there. Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Nice to see a lot of Coronagos there. Would be cool if they took off the wheel reflectors, but maybe I'm just being picky. Regardless, still awesome that we can have such good support and get more people on bikes and racing on MyWhoosh. On the right side of our screen there, we have Buthiab signed up for Cat 2 today. So he's doing well back there in category number 2. So everybody started together. Cat 1, Cat 2, and Cat 3 have all started together. Of course, they're not going to finish together, but the way they'll break down the finishing is, everybody from Cat 1, and then they'll finish everybody at Cat 2 and Cat 3 and categorize them appropriately at the end once all results have been verified. Even though we have people racing in person, they still need to send in their fit files so everything can be analyzed and double-checked. So I'm sure our analytics team is going to have their hands full. We have over 38 people racing with us today. Typically, we have about 20. So we have significantly more people today, which means a lot more results for them to comb through and make sure everything is legit. But I have full faith that they will be able to do that in a timely fashion so we can get everything confirmed. So currently 34.8 is our marker within the race right now. A few more to go until the end of segment number 7. Once the end of segment number 7, we only have 3 kilometers to go to the overall finish of the Sunday Race Club. Ricard Al-Thib there putting out some good watts to try to regain his position there with that pack. Putting out over 1,000 watts at one point. That's a lot of effort just to get back in there. But it could have been a surge effort, maybe to try to get a really good time for segment number 7. And maybe he can just sit in and catch his breath a little bit, and then he can do another hardcore attack. But it seems like the guys at the front, one of them will probably take the overall segment number 7 win. They've had a very consistent pace. It's been a high pace, but it's been very consistent. So back at the front of the race, it was 4, but now it's 3. We have Jason Osborne, Michael Vink, and Philip Graves. Ollie Jones has disappeared. He may have gotten dropped off the back there. These guys are really pushing it. So I think what we'll go ahead and do is I'm going to take another little bit of a water break. We can enjoy some of the footage from the live action going on at our 3 locations. And I will rejoin everybody when we get closer to the end of segment number 7. So now just under 1 kilometer to go to the finish of segment number 7. These three guys out front, Philip Graves, Jason Osborne, and Michael Vink, been straight killing it all today, leading out most of the segments. And of course, controlling this entire race. They've decided to go off the front and leave everybody else behind them. Let them try to catch up. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Just 500 meters to go to the end of segment number 7. And then we are on to the finish line of today's Sunday Race Club. Just be 3 kilometers soon after that. So these three guys, I think they're going to give us a really good show off the front. Looking back at the pack now, Mr. X100 currently leading them out. The chase group there of over 30 seconds behind now. So that's pretty much going to be the positions, like I've said before. They'll be battling it out for 5th place and then rounding out the top 10 as well. So finish gate for segment number 7 now. Insights for these three guys. Of course, we'll wait about 30-ish seconds to see the overall segment times from everybody else. But so far, it's Vink, Philip Graves, and then Jason Osborne. No surprise there. They've all been really tight working together. But now, once everybody else comes through, we can start to see the rest, see how it all is unfolded. So now the results have repopulated, and it's going to be UAE Clan Team Rider SS, total time 13 minutes and 36 seconds. Shortly behind him, Mitch Ferry, Yorkshire Pudding Express rider, and of course his teammate from Norway, Vider Mill, all with the exact same time, 13:36, except they are hundreds of seconds off of each other, so really tight there. And then you can see at the bottom of the list is the top 3 names of the guys out front. So Vink, Philip Graves, and Jason Osborne. So now we roll on to the finish. The segments are all done and dusted, wrapped up for today. Now it's all about getting to the finish line first. And I'm really curious to see who's going to be the one out front doing the all-out sprint. We only have 5 meters of elevation to gain. They're already at 314 meters, and the overall today is 319. So from here, it's pretty much smooth sailing. Just now under 2K to go to the finish line. I'm wondering when we're going to start to see some sneaky attacks from these guys off the front. And it looks like it might be happening soon. Keeping my eyes on Mr. Osborne, of course, from Germany. But it very well could go to Philip or Michael. These guys are stupid strong. So we're just going to have to wait and see who's going to go first, who's going to answer it, who can hang on the wheel, etc. Right now, they're cruising around 42 kilometers per hour. It looks like Philip Graves slowed down ever so slightly. Maybe just to readjust there. Even if you soft pedal just a little bit, you can get dropped from the back of the pack, and then you kind of have to surge your way back up. So that can take a little bit of energy out of you if you're not super consistent on your power output. So you got to be careful with that when racing online for sure. Now we have just 1,200 meters, 1,100 meters to go. I'm keeping my eyes on the data on the right side of the screen, see if I can see any watts per kilo. And it looks like Michael Vink is spiking a little bit now, 6.2 watts per kilo. Now 6.4. And now Jason is going to go ahead and answer that back, as well as Philip Graves. Not let him get too far out ahead. Just 700 meters to go to the overall finish of today's race. Philip Graves, Michael Vink, and Jason Osborne there. Now Jason Osborne's going to take back over the lead ever so slightly. Now 500 meters to go. And the boys should really start popping off here soon if they really want to try to get this. This is going to be a really fast sprint. So now here they go. Jason Osborne off the front. Michael Vink, Philip Graves answering the attack from Jason Osborne, not letting him get too far out. Philip Graves, 10.7 watts per kilo, 12.3 now. Jason Osborne 11.8 as they're screaming up to the finish line. Philip Graves moves into the lead, outsprints Jason Osborne, as does Michael Vink. Wow, what a good finish there. Congratulations to Philip Graves. Holy cow. Sorry, Michael Vink. Apologies. Michael Vink from Danish Pavlova team outsprints Philip Graves and Jason Osborne. And now we have most everybody else coming through the line here. So first, Michael Vink. Second, Philip Graves. Third, Jason Osborne. Fourth place, Vitor Mill from Norway. Fifth place, Mitch Ferry. Sixth, we have Paul Odlin. And seventh place, we have Michael Kunsen from Denmark. Eighth place, SS from the UAE clan team. And in ninth place, Mr. X100. That was such a good finish from those top three guys. And as Jason has admitted before, he is not the best all-around sprinter, but he sure did give it one hell of a try today. So that was really awesome to see. Congratulations to Michael Vink for taking the win for the first time racing here in Alula. So now we are awaiting Pablo Popovich and Tim Cutler. They are just about to finish segment number 7, and then, of course, on to the finish line. And one of these two guys, I feel, will round out our top 10. Once our top 10 come through, everything will be said and done for today's race in Alula. Again, major congrats to Danish Pavlova rider Michael Vink and to Philip Graves and Jason Osborne for giving us such an awesome finish to our very first race here in Alula, and hopefully more to come. This course so far is really cool layout. I think most of you will like it. I hope you have liked it so far. And just friendly reminder, please get out your fit files and email them to the race directors ASAP so we can start the verification process of everybody racing. So we're actually going to go ahead and wrap up the stream now. I want to give you guys, and just tell you guys, thank you so much again for joining us here for the Sunday Race Club Men's Edition in the all-new world of Alula. Hope to see you guys back next week. And I want to give a special shout out to our team here, our technical team that's handling the streams, Mr. Bicker and Kim Little. They have been working tirelessly to make all this work, managing all sorts of different technical adversities. So thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next week.